Hey there, kiddos! I'm Graceless, and today I would like to talk to you about my favorite book series of all time, the Malazan Book of the Fallen by Steven Erikson. You will often see this series in the top 10 lists of epic fantasy, but it has never really received a really widespread following. I always think that this is a bit of a shame, and so hopefully I can explain what some of the problems are for people getting into the series, and maybe convince a few more people to read it. The Malazan series is an epic fantasy containing multiple major storylines spanning across several continents with dozens of wonderfully crafted characters. I greatly enjoy the author's writing style, and it makes me feel like I'm actually watching a movie, like I can hardly even see words on the page when I'm reading it. Looking at the comments about the series, it is very easy to see that the books do not start off strong. I myself accidentally read the fourth book first, where you follow a brand new character who is kind of in a sheltered tribe and doesn't know much about the world, and as he goes out, he actually learns about magic and the races of the world at the same time as you, the reader, and it's a nice entrance into the world. However, the first book does not do that. It feels like you're dropped into the middle of a plot that's already running, and you're expected to keep up while being handed out of context information. So what are some of the reasons for this? Well, the first book, Gardens of the Moon, was not actually written as a book originally. Erikson and his friend Ian Cameron Esselmont created the Malazan world as a backdrop for their RPG tabletop games. Using this world, they co-authored a movie script titled Gardens of the Moon. However, after a couple of years without selling it, Erikson greatly expanded on it and turned the script into an actual novel with the same name. It took several more years before being picked up and published in 1999, after which Erikson signed a deal for 9 more books. Thus, the Malazan Book of the Fallen was set on track. The inspiration for the series title is actually based off of Napoleon's Book of the Dead, and the writing is actually based off of the Iliad, in terms of structure, things like that. And accordingly, this is not gonna be a very wonderfully happy series. They are both filled with quite a bit of tragedy. Most of the book reviews that I've watched portray the theme as nihilistic or a feeling of hopelessness, but I feel they are taking away the wrong lessons. The overwhelming theme is compassion. Even in a terrible world, there are still acts of selflessness that are focused as being the right thing to do, and that's the major reason to do them. The writing style of Gardens also actually contributes to the confusion, as there are a lot of characters and you are swapping between characters every few pages, sometimes even just a few paragraphs. The only other author that I've seen do this well is George R.R. Martin, and it is definitely becoming more common because of him. At the time Gardens was published, this was still a very rare technique, and was even commented on in an early interview with Erikson. Erikson replied, "I got tired of the tendency of some fantasy to stay with a single character, because it makes the character more important than the world around him. I wanted to write a fictitious history and show a whole world, not just kings and queens, but a whole social gamut and trickle-down effect of power, and show how even a thief can affect everyone up to the gods. I wanted a sense of how everyone is tied up together so that in Gardens of the Moon, we have sympathies with both besiegers and besieged. In each of my books, we are looking in at characters during a specific period in time, and so I wanted a sense of everyone having histories either side of what we see, then to pop out and go somewhere else." For the most part, he does an excellent job attaining his goal, and seeing multiple points of view really makes the scenes more vivid. The biggest downside for me is that none of the sections are labeled by which character they are. You can be given several paragraphs of description before being told which character we are being shown, and sometimes it can break immersion for me because I found myself reading ahead slightly just to know whose perspective I'm being shown. My last point of confusion has to do with complexity and unreliable narrators. There are so many interwoven plot points being thrown around in the air that it almost feels like you need to take notes in order to keep track. Personally, I enjoy this, but it can be absolutely overwhelming and off-putting to new readers. To go along with this, Erikson has said, "My anthropological back gets raised hackles with simple worlds and simple conflicts. Nothing simple, nothing ever has. Nothing ever was. So Gardens involved a twisting of loyalties, hopefully offering to the reader the choice of to whom to pledge allegiance. Good guys do bad things, and bad guys do good things, and sometimes things that look good are actually bad. With luck, every character comes across as genuine in their uncertainties. So, in case someone doesn't know, an unreliable narrator is a narrator whose credibility has been seriously compromised. This can be from a lack of information or being purposefully misleading, but Erikson takes it a step further. His background in archaeology provides extra insight into the past, especially with how our knowledge of the past can become warped. History books can be warped by who is writing them, and this is no exception in the Malazan world. Often the past is not as it seems, and even first-hand sources cannot always be believed. It creates a fun mystery as the reader gets more information, trying to piece together the world, picking and choosing what they believe to be true. However, it's not really as complicated as I make it sound. Now, in order to not be all doom and gloom, Erikson's background is a huge benefit to this world. His knowledge of archaeology and anthropology has created a vibrant and authentic feeling world. Tribes all feel incredibly real, and the conflict between tribal society and urban society is incredibly well thought out, and feels like you're looking at real history. The complex storylines are often at a massive scale, but it always feels grounded and personal due to the points of views and amazing characterization. I believe that this series has something for everyone, and rereading this series, you will always find something new or a whole new way of looking at it. I would personally recommend this series to anyone who enjoys fantasy books, but it's not easy, and I understand that it's not for everyone. So if you're looking for something to read, especially something that will take a long time, then I would recommend at least giving it a try through the third book, Memories of Ice. So if you don't love it by the third book, you probably won't enjoy the rest of the series, but each one of the first three has a very different feel to it. So hopefully, if you're looking for something new, please give it a chance, and I don't think you'll regret it.